Thank you for listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Today I have a guest with me and we are going to just jump right into the interview. Hello.
Hello.
Share with the audience a bit about yourself and we'll discuss a bit more.
Okay. My name is Oscar. I go by the name Osh. Sometimes I'm a musical recording artist. I also do social media with my boyfriend. We have a company named Michael Garcia Media. If you guys have any questions about that, you can go to michaelgarciamedia.com and see what we're all about. Look at all of our services that we offer and contact us through there.
All right. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that I met Oscar at a hotel. He was actually helping me. He was training and supervising, and we just hit it off. Oscar comes with just loads of information just about his personal experiences, just work experience. He is just a very knowledgeable young man, and I appreciate him very much. I wanted to ask you, Oscar, let's start off with your experiences being young and Latino in America. How would you describe your experience, especially during this time of just trial, right? Everyone is they have their views. It's just a lot going on.
I think being Latino in America, it's a struggle, but I think that my struggles have came more with being undocumented in America and being Latino. And being gay, I think it's just a mixture of all those three things. Like, there is so many people that dislike Latinos in America, that dislike gays in America, that dislike people that are under the DACA, they're DACA recipients.
Right.
So I just think, during this time, election time or voting time, it's kind of hard to be able to see everybody being able to use their voices to vote for who they think would be a good leader for the nation. And it's just hard seeing everybody be able to express themselves through voting because when you have DACA, you're not allowed to vote. So it's just hard seeing everybody be so involved, and sometimes you just have to sit one out because of your status. Same with all the protests going on. Mm-hmm. That earlier in the year, there was some times where I would be crying to Michael because I'm I want to go protest, I want to be part of it, but it wasn't safe because I have if I were to get in trouble with the law, it could potentially I can't reapply for that because your record has to be super clean.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about not being able to vote either.
Oh yeah, we're not able to vote. Pretty much it's like a work permit. You pretty much are able to go to work, travel the states. You can't really leave the states. It's not good for re-entry, and you have to renew it every 2 years. And it's a pretty big fee to have to pay every 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I think my struggles have started there. But I've always tried to make the best of it. There are other ways to use your voice, even if you're not just voting, but getting other people to vote, to use their voices, that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So one of the things about this channel is that we do have all sorts of people, that listen, from faith-based all the way to Satanists. Okay, so so you're in good company all across the board.
Yeah,
So, but one of the things though that really just stirred me to tears was years back when we talked. and you told me, because I was talking about church and you know how
Yeah.
that goes, right? Meanwhile, you're as a believer, you're just running your mouth and you're not really thinking about that other person and what their experiences may have been with the church.
Yeah.
Do you want to just get into, how you felt attending church and how the believers treated or mistreated you?
Yeah. You know, I pretty much grew up in the church. Like, I don't know if I had said my age earlier, but I'm 23. I pretty much grew up in church. I was raised in church. My parents were faith-based for most of my life. Like, my dad, he was a preacher. He taught classes at church, like Sunday classes, and so was my mom, and they were really close to the pastor. I was part of the like worship group. I used to sing and lead services as well. I was very young, and I think this also has to do with like wanting to be a recording artist too. Was because I loved singing. I loved being in front of people, and just like I just loved singing. But the experiences at church, like, I had a great life at church pretty much up until I was like 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to like have like I started to get like molested by one of the members there, and I kept it to myself for a really long time. And I spoke up about it to my parents when I was about like 18 or 17, and like they were just devastated, and like they shared with the pastor like what was going on, because like my parents and like my whole family was really, really involved in church, and like people started to see that we weren't attending church, and they like started asking questions. So my parents spoke out about what had happened, and pretty much the church turned their back. Like, the day that they said something about that I was like getting sexually molested at the church,
Mm-hmm.
they were like very supportive, and they were like, "Oh, we're here for you if you need anything." And the next day it was just like everybody turned their backs on us, and they pretty much were saying like I was being seductive, and like you have to also think like I'm 16 years old, and this man he had a whole family, like he had grandkids.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, I felt very betrayed, because like I feel like because I was pretty much a child still. I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, I just felt very betrayed, because I feel like they would have taken my side. They would have believed me. And it's just like, I felt like the boy who cried wolf, because nobody believed me. Like,
Right.
nobody was on my side. Like, all these people that like I looked up to or that I admired, like that just went down the drain because they were so shady to me.
Mm-hmm. That's what I noticed, is that the minute some type of crisis takes place, and it's something that people can't wrap their heads around, they start to shun you, they distance themselves from you, and then of course that in a way is like bullying too, because folks aren't, if they're not calling you a bunch of names, they're turning around and they're being real quiet and tiptoeing around you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's just like, I felt like so many adults knew about the situation, and they didn't act like adults. Like, they acted like it was some kind of like scandal, like a church. I don't know how to describe
Right.
it, like a church scandal.
A church
like,
scandal, yeah.
It's just like no, like this really happened. Like, if it were to happen to anybody, like if it were to happen to somebody in your family, like they wouldn't be reacting the same way. Like, they would believe their kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't be acting the way that they were. And like, I also think that had to do a lot with like my parents. For some reason, they've not had the best like friends around them, or just like people surrounding them. And I think that that had to do with it too, because a lot of people at church disliked my parents, and they were always just looking for a motive to
Right.
like shun them, or like they were just looking for something wrong with whatever they did, you know?
Right.
And I think that had to do with the way that I got treated too. And it's just like, it wasn't, I didn't do anything. Like I was a kid. Like I was a teenager. I was just living my life. Like I was trying to live a good life, like, and go to church. Like, but everything happens for a reason, and it's just part of my story now, you know?
Exactly. And one of the things as a parent, because I had brought this up to you one day, and I noticed that one of my kids, they just, they seem to gravitate to some things that were more feminine. And I was talking to you because I'm just like, wait a minute, do we have an issue here? Is there something that I need to, but it turned out in his situation that he was just trying to figure out, like so many other kids, his identity, like what he wanted to be. And scientifically, they talk about, that a child, something along the lines between the ages of 7 and 9, they will make a decision whether they want to be male or female. And so, I thought that was, interesting too. And then I talked with a coworker who said in his situation, he found out that he had less chromosomes than most people, that were male. And he said that he knew that his situation was just more medical than it was anything else. So that threw a wrench in, my thinking too, because we watch movies and we talk to people and we hear through the grapevine of this one and that one, but we don't think about how, complex being gay or lesbian or bi or asexual, we don't think about how complex it is, and that it's not always just about the abuse. There's other things that,
contribute.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Like, I have always, as a child, I always loved going shopping with my mom. I never really ever wanted to be with my guy cousins. Like, I always liked being with my girl cousins. In school, I always had girlfriends and not, guy friends. It's just, I don't know, I feel like my parents knew a little bit, but they just didn't want to admit, and I think it's just, I feel like I oppressed that part of me a lot, just because of being in the church and growing up Christian, and just the lifestyle that my parents were living. I feel like it suppressed me a little bit, and it just made me want to be somebody that I just couldn't be.
Exactly, right. So the next question that I wanted to ask you was, do you find that people are more accepting now that everybody knows? It's like, no secrets, this is who I am.
Yeah, I feel like in my family, everybody has been super accepting and super just supportive, and I that's what I was trying to say before. The growing up in the church kind of messed that up for me. It made me feel like I had to be oppressed. I had to hide that part of my life. And before I came out, I don't even know if I shared this with you. I think I have shared it, but I was so afraid of telling my parents, because I felt like they wouldn't love me, they wouldn't accept me, because growing up in the church, my dad was kind of, not, I don't want to say homophobic, but he was if one of my kids was gay, he would disown them. And when it really came down to it, my dad was super supportive, and my dad, I really felt protected by my dad, and I felt he was just there. And that's also a big stigma in the gay community, is having your dad be part of your life. And I'm really thankful that my dad has been able to shift his thinking, and he just knows I know that he will always love me because I'm his son, and
Mm-hmm.
he's made that very clear. And I think that was one of my biggest fears when I was coming out, was my family not accepting me, not wanting to interact with me anymore. And it's like, it's just been a whole, like a 180,
Mm-hmm.
because they are so accepting. Like, I bring Michael to every family party, and like when I don't take him, they're always like, "Where's Michael?" Or like, "Why are you here alone?" Like they like are very accepting, and they just want to see me happy, and that's that makes my heart very warm.
Oh, that's awesome. But here's a question that I have for you. I have a lot of folks that come through here that they don't have the same story. There's the distance, there's the separation, and all of that. Do you have, and I know I'm, kind of sidestepping a little bit in the questions, but do you have a word of advice for them who didn't have the same experience as you in terms of the acceptance and inclusion and all of that? Anything just to uplift them a bit?
Yeah, my story is really different from my boyfriend's story. Michael's, his family pretty much disowned him when he came out. Mm-hmm. And he got kicked out at a very young age, and he just kind of had to figure life out for himself. And he always just wakes up in a positive mood, and it's just like, your situation, you're in a situation, you're like, this is not your life. Like, only you have the power to change the outcome of what you're living. Like, yeah, there's a lot of other things that come and play with it, but you just need to work hard and just know that it's going to get better. Like, there's a lot of resources out there where you can find help. Like, I know that a lot of people going through this life change or figure out who they are, like, they sometimes are going through abuse, or going through just really dramatic changes in their life, and it's just like, find something that is going to make you happy, like that will just take your mind off of things. I feel like excuse me, one of the things that has helped me is being able to write songs, being able to produce songs. And it's just like, you need to find a place where you can find your peace. Like, when my boyfriend has felt like anxious or any kind of those things, he thinks of his happy place, and he says his happy place is us being on the beach. Like, you have to see yourself there so you can actually be there.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And see, being that we live in a very conservative state, right? There are those individuals that they don't make it comfortable sometimes, for people, because you don't look like us, you don't act like us. At least I felt that, being an African American woman, in the state of Colorado, there were certain areas that I'm just like, oh, I remember this, because I was in communities out in my home state of Pennsylvania that, people would look you up and down, give you the side eye, which leads me to the next question. What are some of the irritating things you wish people wouldn't do concerning your lifestyle?
I think one of the things that I wish people would not be, when people say, oh, there's too many gay characters in movies, or like, we're trying to push this lifestyle down people's throat. And it's like, we're not trying to push anything. It's like, we just want everybody to be represented. Like, a lot of, even in the, people of color, like, they're not represented in lots of movies. Like, most of the Disney princesses, what are they? They're Caucasian.
Yes.
Or European. Like, there's just a lack of representation. And it's like, I'm not trying to shove my lifestyle. Like, if you don't want to watch a movie that has a gay character in it, turn off the TV. Like, if you don't want to hear music by a gay artist, switch the radio. Or, we just want to be represented. We just want to be seen. We just want people to acknowledge that we exist. Like, and I think that just changing people's mentality to think like, I don't know about your lifestyle, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to know what you've been through, as long as you're like willing to listen to what I've been through, you know?
Exactly.
Like, I just wish people had a mutual understanding. Like, people are different. Everybody's not going to be straight. Everybody's not going to have like perfect height, perfect waist. Like, everybody is different, and everybody's story is different. So like, it's just, I'm not trying to push down my lifestyle down your throat. It's just like, I just want to be represented. I want to be seen. Like, it's I'm getting like choked up a little bit, because it's just like, people just need to be a little bit more accepting.
Right.
As well.
Right.
And it's sad, because I feel like we're living in a time where like being accepted is just like, you can either be super accepted, or you're just going to be super hated. Like, I don't know. There's not really an in-between. And it's like, some people are not even willing to hear about what you've been through to try to change their mind, or to at least understand.
Mm-hmm. One of the things was, I had taken all my sons, to the church, and they had a pretty good experience. But then one particular church, we had to stop going, and that church got closed down too, because the youth minister, he was being inappropriate with one of the students in a class that two of my sons were in. Yeah, and one of my sons had been approached. He had been talked to, and he was about your age. That's what was crazy. I'm like, what is going on? Matter of fact, he was, because at the hotel, he would have been 16 at the time, 16 or 17, and he said the guy was being flirtatious with him. I feel like sometimes these people, they target folks that they know are different, are unique, are not the typical macho, and I guess he assumed that my son, was not a macho kind of guy or something, so hey, you dress real nice, you talk a little higher pitch, you tend to look a certain way, and so the guy was gravitating to my son, and my son told me, I don't know, there's something weird about him. Well, there was an investigation on his Facebook account, and it turned out that individual ended up being arrested, and that church that we all attended got shut down. And that was the church that was right across that from where we worked. Just the FYI.
Oh wow, yeah.
So now it's a new church. Mm-hmm. So it's not the same. Yep. One of the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like, why do these older, I just don't understand why older people target, or like they groom these younger individuals. Like, I don't know, like, I'm glad that your son felt like he needed to tell you, like, because when I was in the same situation, like, I was so afraid to tell anybody. Like, I waited 2 years to tell anybody about what I had gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, he was just brave enough to tell you, and just like knew that something was not right,
Exactly. Before things ended up escalating. So,
exactly.
So because he knew that, I can't try this guy, this young guy, he ended up though successfully, hurting another person. So it's just, we can't stress enough, parents, please pay attention to what's going on with your children.
Yes.
So, have you ever felt disrespected to the point where you didn't want to come to work, or shop at a store, or do other things out in the public?
I think that, it's not necessarily that I don't, that I want to hide it or anything, but I just think, like Michael and I don't really like holding hands out in public, just because you don't ever know, like, what kind of hateful person will walk by you, or like you just don't know. Like it's difficult living like living in fear and not being able to show like I just want to hold my boyfriend's hand, or we try to stay away from that stuff in public. It's not because we're prude or anything. It's because we want to be careful, and we don't want to be in a bad situation, and we don't want to like be sorry about something, like if anything were to happen to us. Like I knew this guy that he got stabbed here in Denver when he was walking downtown with his boyfriend a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And like that always just kind of sits in the back of my mind, and it's just like it's not, I mean, there's not really any places where I don't go, but it's like what I don't do when I'm out in public. Mm-hmm. Like there is one place that we don't go to, like we don't go to Chick-fil-A because they don't support gays. We also don't, there's this gay bar here in Denver, mm-hmm. and one time when we went there, they ended up, we got like we got like 2 waters, and they charged us, like the guy tipped himself a couple extra dollars, like $50, and
we're exactly $50 for drinks. Oh,
and we weren't even drinking it was like 2 waters, and it just sat really bad in my mouth. Like I just don't want to give that business my money when they didn't, like it's not like, I don't know, we weren't mad about them taking the money. It's just like, why are you being dishonest? Like we didn't tip you this much. Like mm-hmm. the tab was like $8.
Right.
And it's just like, we don't support that. Like, but thank God I haven't had I haven't experienced like being discriminated or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for the day because there's just this energy built in me that needs to come out sometimes that is like, no, like this is not right. Like, but there hasn't been anywhere where we felt like super disrespected or anything. Like, mm-hmm. I feel like we've always been very respectful when we're in public. So like the respect is kind of reciprocated.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear you. One of the things when you mentioned earlier, I've meant to squeeze this question in. So do you still pray? Do you still reach out to God? I mean, we already know about the lifestyle. We don't need to get into scriptures and all this other stuff. But But I'm just curious. Like what's your approach concerning God these days?
My class asked me this sometimes too. Like, I mean, I still believe in God. Mm-hmm. I do pray sometimes. Like, we had like this crazy night not too long ago, and we, I told him, like, I was like, I don't feel that well, and I was just having a rough night, and I was like, I'm gonna pray, like God, please help me. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I had to throw up like one time, and then I felt good. It was like my punishment for drinking too much, and then I felt good. But I don't know, I don't like put praying into my daily practice, mm-hmm. But I do I do a lot. I feel like I reflect on myself, but I don't like have I don't know, I don't really believe in a higher power. I mean, I believe in like manifesting and like mm-hmm. all that stuff, but I don't believe in like, I mean, I know there is a God, but I don't talk to him.
I went through that. I mean, I went through that I was in my early 20s. Matter of fact, it's crazy. And I had people all around me, at the time, because I just wanted to party, have a good old time, you know. And I got real sick on some cheap liquor many years ago, and I had good sense to pray. even though I wasn't like sold out for the Lord, or like you said, he wasn't a part of the daily practice. But the Creator's interesting though. He lets us just kind of do what we want to do for a time period. That's for sure. And we all did. And then once we get older, we start reflecting back on our life, and that's when we, I don't know, that's when we start getting real serious about life and death and hell and heaven and everything else. But Can you share with us, like during these tough times, because you did say you're 23, what are you doing in terms of, making money and, just trying to survive? Because I know it's tough for young people right now, all across the board.
Well, like I said, we have a social media company.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the work that we've been doing, we can do at home. So it's been pretty convenient for us to be able to just post from home. The only thing that we like see people, like, you know how you, like, coronavirus, like, you shouldn't be seeing a lot of people. The only thing that we're going to see people for is, like, taking pictures to get content. But this last month, in September, we just did a campaign for National Suicide Prevention Month.
Mm-hmm.
And we made these boxes that they were like heart chocolates, and we put "You Are Enough" on it. And we had this little blog with a whole bunch of goodies. It had like sunglasses. It had just these QR codes that would go to our blog, and some stickers that say like "You Are Enough." It's just like a feel good type of experience, because all, like, people are going through it during this pandemic.
Yes.
Like they feel alone. They feel like they can't see anybody. They can't talk to anybody, and people just need that reminder that you are enough. Like, your life matters. Like, you matter. And that's kind of one of the ways that we stayed busy. And like, how people can stay growing and have their medias up, we recommend is like posting every single day. You want to make sure that you're present on these social medias, and I feel like that's been one of the things that has helped us, is being consistent and just knowing, like, kind of making a connection with our audience, and just letting them know that we are here for you guys.
So thank you so much, Oscar, for taking the time out to just share just so much information. I mean, I'm grateful to you. I appreciate you so much. Those of you all, just as he said, do take a look at NichollGarciaMedia.com. All of this information will be in the description box. And if you have any questions or what have you for our guests, you're welcome to reach out, and that information, once again, will be in the description box. I thank you once again, Oscar. And
thank you so much for having me, Nicholl.
You are so welcome, and you take care, okay?
Thanks, you too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. We do welcome giving on this channel. Also take a look at that description box, and blessings to you.